But of course, in Lincoln, what you see is not what you get. Behind this rather lovely Georgian facade are older houses. There's older and behind and under and so on in Lincoln. And I love this wall. There's so many windows in this wall here. It's like a tea bag. It's peppered with window. It's not strong because there's too many holes in it. It can't hold up the roof. There's enough lead on the various roofs of Lincoln Minster to cover 4 football pitches. Oh. So you have to have buttresses, those great pillars of stone that actually hold the holes here. No reason at all. Well, in fact, nobody knows why it's there. Somebody suggested it was the choir master looking for the choir boys because they were late. And somebody said it was somebody looking for the bus, but basically nobody knows. I do know it hasn't got a body on the other side because I've checked. Just kind of sweet. This is the chancery with the flag flying and the bishop's house. Again, nice facade, all the buildings behind. The bishop doesn't actually live there anymore. He moved out several years ago. But that's called the bishop's house. And here you can get up because we will stop the bus. I would suggest you do get up because this is important. This is the eastern gateway to Roman Lincoln. And what you can apparently reach speeds of up to 200 miles an hour. Fastest living thing on the planet. What a plot. Anyway. In these gardens here, on your left, is apparently evidence of Roman baths. But they didn't have the water. The water came from Roaring Lake Spring, which is a mile away downhill, presently underneath Waitrose. And somehow the Roman engineers got the water a mile uphill to here, where they decided they were going to have the baths. Why they do that, I'm not sure, but what an engineering feat, because Roman water doesn't flow uphill, does it, you know? And they had soap. They made themselves this soap, which was made from sheep fat, goat fat, lanolin, of course, see? Squished together with a few ashes embedded in for scraping. So they were very keen on cleanliness, not as we know it, but by the standards of their time, they were sneaky things, you know. And they had Roman loos. I have been lucky enough to go to a couple of Roman loos. You don't go in, close the door, and then come out when you finish. You sit side by side with maybe 10 other people in a horseshoe shape, chatty and friendly, you know? And you clean yourself with a sponge on a stick. And when you finish this thing, you put it down for the next person to use. If you then pick it up badly, you are said to get hold of the wrong end of the stick. And that's honestly where the expression comes from. Yeah. We're just past Newport Arch. We'll have a proper look at that in a minute. But it's the only Roman gateway which has been in constant use. I know there's lots of Roman gateways, but that's one always been used. In fact, they got a lorry stuck under there quite a while ago, but they couldn't get the damn thing out. They had to number the stones, dismantle part of the arch, get the lorry out, and then rebuild it as per the Romans. And there's a picture board if you go to that part of town, and you can see pictures of it, firmly stuck. Now, if you're born in Lincolnshire, you're a yellow belly. Are you a yellow bellies on the bus? No? No? Fine. Are you a yellow belly, AJ? No. Anyway, there comes for the loads of legends as to how it comes about. But one they don't like is that the people who lived in the Fens part of Lincolnshire, where it's flat and marshy and swampy and a bit malarial, people are all jaundiced and poorly looking. They don't like that one. There's another one that says that the stagecoach that went from Lincoln to London had a navy top but a yellow underside. Not so keen on that either. But the one they like is that the Lincolnshire Regiment of Foot had a yellow jersey they wore, sort of yellow thing, and they carried a yellow flag. And of course that's all a bit more brave and heroic. And that's the one they like, no surprise. And if you go into the museum, which is diagonally opposite where the bus stops at the end here, is the Museum of Lincolnshire Life. It's one of my personal favourites. But you will see them all done out in the yellow there. You will see the yellow bellies. You will also see lots of military machines, and you'll see lots of old tractors and thresher machines, because agriculture in Lincolnshire has always been very important. We still produce about a third of the nation's food here in Lincolnshire. And there's a row of shops in there laid out the way they were. That's it, just there. Free to enter, last entry 3:45. Little gem, I think it is. So in these shops, there's things in there that I recognise from my granny's house. It's kind of cosy, it's lovely. I don't know anybody who's been in there and been disappointed. It's absolutely delightful. Donut shape, we wander around at your own speed. Safe play area for the kids in the middle, little tea room, and free. You know, what more could you wish for? Our social history, 1750 to today, in there. Now the walls coming up are complete for the first time ever. It started out as a wooden palisade, but then changed that for stone pretty quickly, obviously, because it's much more robust. And now it's complete, and it's wonderful. From there you've got the best view ever of the cathedral. You can see inside the castle. You've got the whole of Lincoln laid out before you, and the whole of the width and back. You can see 40 miles from up there. And there's a plaque every so often saying what you can see from here, what happened here. So it's absolutely lovely. But you pay for that, unfortunately. But I think it's worth it. And this side of the bus was Hangman's Ditch. 1768, executions were done in public. But here in Lincoln, they were slowly strangled to death. They hauled you from the floor by your neck and into pages to strangle. You could hire small boys to hang onto your legs and pull down, and that's 80 out of it. And they were called hangers on. And it was a fellow from Horncastle who was actually a cobbler, and he invented the long drop, and he worked out that if the body fell far enough and fast enough, you'd snap your neck, which was much more humane. Not as much fun for the spectators, obviously, but can't tell it all. Unbelievable. The water tower behind us is much better. In the early 1900s, wow, watch out, that's a new one, sorry. In the early 1900s we had a typhoid epidemic in the city because the water was polluted. Killed 131, hospitalised 1,000. And so Reginald Bromfield designed the water tower there to bring fresh water to the city. And it comes from Nottinghamshire to there. Bromfield was an architect of some renown. You couldn't accuse him of a lightness of touch. But he was nonetheless quite popular at the time. Oh, look now. Look at that. That is Newport Arch with knobs on. Because half of it's below the ground, isn't it? If you remember. Half of that is below the ground. That little pedestrian bit to the side would be tall enough for a man on horseback to ride through. This is worth a wander round here. When you're on foot, this is worth a wander. This is the Bale Gate that I mentioned. The Bailey of Lincoln Castle, we call it Bale Gate. It's also part of Ermine Street, which is that very famous Roman road that went from York to London. And because Lincoln is so important, it goes right through the middle of the city. And the Roman cities were built on the grid pattern, a bit like the American cities are today. And so this bit would take you to the Forum, the town centre, where you would find the basilica and the shops. And a lot of these houses, this one here says Mintmore Passage, have got Roman remains in the cellar. This one down here says it's got a Roman portico underneath. But basically we're littered with the stuff. And if you look in front of, on the path in front of Greg's, look at the pavement, you'll see circles of cobbles. And those circles, if you can find them, they go right the way down the middle of the road ahead under the flags. And that shows you where the pillars of the Forum were. So down there, 19 circles of cobbles, which shows you where the pillars of the Forum were. Roman well under glass, just here, dug by the 9th Legion. I think the 9th Legion more or less established Roman Lincoln. Leaves, you'll get leaves along here, fellas, just warning you. This gets a bit leafy. They're not branches, but they are. You don't want them poking you in the eye, really, do you? So that's the apse of a 6th century wooden church, marked in cobbles, just there. And this turret on the castle wall is called Cobb Hall, and that's where they took the hanging. So it's still public, obviously, but the public can't make a even when you left yourself, even if you went to the chapel, each pew has a wooden baffle down either side and behind, so you can only see ahead and up it. The chaplain is stationed up there somewhere, so he can look down on his congregation, but you can't communicate anybody who will run and see them. Unless, of course, you're about to be executed, and then there's a bench along the back where you can sit and chat. Very whoopie-doo, you know. But it's interesting. And if you watch Downton Abbey, anybody watch Downton Abbey? Because the prison scenes are filmed in there.